Ciao Internet, my name is Axon and this is my arcade. Welcome back, and today I'm fucking pissed. And there's a reason for that. So what you're looking at is an article from Tom's Hardware. You can look into it, you can find this kind of news pretty much everywhere on the internet. And this is something that I was afraid of when I first learned about upscaling technology in graphics cards, modern graphics cards. Unfortunately, this kind of article are the proof of my fears, which I really didn't want to be the case, but that's how we ended up. And this is the first time that some dev studios admitted it, and hopefully it's the last time, but I feel this is something that is becoming more and more common by the time passing by, right? So what is this thing all about? Upscaling technology, I don't know if you guys know what it is. There are some techniques used by modern graphics cards, both NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards, and also Intel graphics card for what it's worth, that leverages AI or some kind of algorithm to basically upscale the image of your game to a higher resolution, so that you can basically actually render the game at a lower resolution. Let me say you have a QHD monitor, you have a 4K monitor, and you render the game at QHD resolution 4040p, and then just upscale it to look like it's a 4K experience, but it's actually not. So that your graphics card has to render only 1440p image, and you'll get an almost undistinguishable, depending on the case, 4K gaming image, right? And what it does is that you get better frame rates at kind of 4K resolution in this case. It also works for lower resolutions. You can play on a QHD monitor, render the game at 180p, 1080p, and upscale it to QHD, and get 1080p kind of performance with the 1440p image, kind of 4040p looking image, right? Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it looks depending on the implementation, depending on the actual technology used to do that. DLSS is famously it looks much more authentic compared to FSR or other upscaling technologies, but the gist of it is the same. The basic function of it's the same. What I was afraid of when I learned about this technology is that in a market in which game developers are not already optimizing their games very much, that they would use these kind of technologies as an excuse to do that even more, to just quit optimizing games forever, basically. So this was my fear. I really felt that many publishers would push developers to quit their optimizing efforts just because there were these kind of technologies they made up for it, right? But I didn't want to believe that. No actual developer has said so up until now. But then this happened. So Remnant 2 just outright said that they kept in mind that players could have access to these kind of technologies, and therefore they just didn't optimize the game. They didn't say they didn't optimize the game, but they said that they designed the game with upscaling in mind. So basically they said, who cares about our game being really difficult and heavy to run because there's upscaling, and people can do that and forget about it. The result of it is that you need a 3080 to hit 60 FPS at 1080p. So 1080p Ultra should be, for modern graphics card, let's say the last couple of generation of graphics cards, should be like a walk in the park. Shouldn't even be an issue or like a question. Most of the games at 1080p Ultra with a graphics card like a 3080 should at least do like 160 FPS easy, something like that. The fact that you can barely hit 60 FPS at 1080 Ultra with a graphics card that costed a lot of money at launch. This is an enthusiast grade card from 2020, okay? Enthusiast grade, not the like really upper echelon of the graphics card stock from Nvidia, but just one step below that. It's an expensive graphics card, and you shouldn't be afraid of hitting 60 FPS at 1080 with a graphics card like that. Even though the game is came out 3 years later, it doesn't make any sense. So this is what I'm pissed about, and I really don't want this to be something that is common practice in the game development world, but I think it's gonna be. And as it happens with every technology, everything can be used for what it was thought to be used, or for something else, right? You can use something powerful for good or for bad. It's always been the case. And the idea behind these kind of technologies is not to let game developers be lazy. This was thought to make graphics cards last longer, to get more FPS at higher resolutions, but not more FPS in the sense that you get playable frame rates from unplayable frame rates. This is what thought to get super high frame rates from already good frame rates, right? Let's say I have an enthusiast grade card. I get 50 to 60 FPS in 4K Ultra. I want to get more. I use DLSS, I use FSR, I use XeSS, or whatever it's called. I hit 60 at 4K. I want to play at 100 frames per second. I use an upscale technology. That's great. Or I have a graphics card that's 2 to 3 years old, and a new game comes out, and I want to be able to play at higher frame rates. Okay, I want to make my graphics card last a little bit more. That's great. Upscale technology is great for that. Or I have a mid-range card, but I upgraded my monitor, and I want to get playable frame rates with it. That's great. That's super good. But I was always afraid that game developers would like use the existence of these technologies as an excuse to quit optimizing their games. And not only, I don't think it's just a matter of like developers, probably also like publishers can leverage this as an excuse to spend less money in optimizing games and just like publishing games that are not ready, right? This is publishing the games that are not ready and that have performance issues, stuff like that. It's a problem that is becoming a real issue in this past couple of years, and I've talked about that in other videos before when I talked about performance of the last Star Wars game. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is fucking bad. There's something about this that is really, really upsetting, because you guys have to remember, we are also in a bad place as far as GPU market goes. remember that this generation of GPUs is probably the worst GPU generation of all time. One of the worst for sure. In that we had very little performance improvement from last generation at the same price, which is something that new generations should be able to do every time. Usually you get 30 to 50% more performance at the same price range, generation to generation. It's usually somewhere around 30 to 50, 50 maybe at the upper like range of the graphics card, and 30 in the mid range, something like that. And we had, especially in the mid range this year, we had like super sucky graphics card. We have the 4060 Ti costing as much as the 3060 Ti at launch and performing something like 5% better. We have like this super bad situation with graphics card. Basically, the only graphics card that has been a leap in performance from the previous generation to the next has been the 4090, which is a graphics that very few people can afford. The rest of the stack for Nvidia is super bad. AMD has shit their bed basically in this generation. They thought they could go higher with performance and they didn't. And what they did is just try to undercut Nvidia pricing a little bit with good performance for what there was for the price, but they had so many issues. The architecture didn't scale as well with clock speed as they thought it would be. It's very inefficient architecture. Like the power consumption for the 7000 series graphics card is really bad, and also feature set is like pretty much not comparable to the Nvidia counterparts. So also AMD, which is usually like the most cost sensible choice and like the price to performance king, has done so many wrong things in this generation, which is like I actually didn't buy a new graphics card from this generation of graphics card because I don't want to endorse this kind of generations, this kind of product releases. I don't want to endorse that. I bought an used RDNA 2 card, which is great, 6800 XT, works great. I paid very few bucks for that, and I'm happy about it. And I'm happy that I'm not like endorsing this behavior from these graphics card companies. So yeah, if you want an advice from me, don't buy anything from this generation. As you can do it if you get something like some really discounted graphics card in the coming months, but I wish nobody buys current graphics card, because we need to tell these companies to do better next time with pricing and performance and marketing. Yeah, I probably will do a dedicated video for like the stupidity of AMD marketing as far as this current generation of graphics card goes, because 7900 XTX is a stupid fucking name for that graphic card. Stupid fucking name. Anyhow, I digress. Back to the topic. This situation is bad. I hope this is just one case, even though I think there have already been many cases of this, just not blatantly like revealed by developers like the Revenant 2 developers did. But yeah, hopefully this is something that stops right here. I hope that this game gets so much bad press and marketing from these kind of articles that other developers and other publishers see this and go, okay, we cannot do this. We cannot launch a game that says you need upscaling to make it work. I really hope that that's the case, and yeah, let's hope that PC gaming and gaming development like get better with next generation of graphics card and with upcoming releases of games. that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for listening. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe, and see you next one. Ciao, 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 ciao.